remains. The faint of heart won't want to trawl through a mud bath strewn with body parts. An architect's hand, a surgeon's rib, an explorer's foot still laced in its boot. The flaxen shock of an actor's hair, an artist's eye, a composer's ear, a philosopher's skull, a glass blower's lungs, an inventor's spine, a poet's tongue. A century on, the soil still bleeds. The earth yields up its yearly crop of fingernails and lower jaws and wisdom teeth and funny bones, and Tommy still roams the fields and lanes, all leaden-limbed, all hollow-voiced, all vacant-looking, all bullet-brained, all never was, all might have been. Considering the poppy. Consider the poppy. Think it a life, the plasma and milk of its petals and stalk. Or think it a face, the agonized blush, blood vessels flushed with revulsion, pain. Or think it an eye, the bloodshot iris, the ink-black pit staring blank and blind. Or think it a mouth, muted, stunned. Or think it a flag, planted there flying nobody's colours in no man's land. Or think it a soul, the fallen, the lost. Or think it a hole, the gaping naught of an entry wound or an exit wound. Or think it a ghost, or think it a heart. But above all, think it a thought. A seed of thought that might sleep in the mind for 100 years, then sprout and bud and blossom and fruit. A bubble of memory that blooms in the brain, a Rorschach smudge, a crimson stain that reminds and reminds when it flares and flames. So consider the poppy, pinned on a blouse or pinned on a coat, or growing wild among cane and corn, and recall and recall. In Avondale. That isn't the way the coal man knocks, dark earth and blackened hands, who rattles the letterbox. That isn't the way the milkman knocks, pale earth strewn in foreign lands, who rattles the letterbox. That isn't the way the fish seller knocks, gaping mouths and staring eyes, who rattles the letterbox. That isn't the way the eggman knocks, cracked shells and broken lives, who rattles the letterbox. So a mother buttons her first son's coat in Avondale, and his name comes home in an envelope. And a mother buttons her second son's coat and wraps a muffler around his throat in Avondale, and his name comes home in an envelope, and runs a comb through her third son's fringe, and wipes a crumb from her fourth son's lips, and presses a note in her fifth son's fist in Avondale, and buttons their coats, and their names come home in envelopes. Some days the wind troubles the hinges and locks, and a sunflower sways and the treehouse rocks, but it's deadly quiet in Avondale when somebody knocks. Who rattles the letterbox?